Hey gorgeous souls, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of my videos today. So today's video is all about the 5 self-help books or spiritual books, whatever you want to call it, that will change your life, that have changed my life personally. So I'm so excited to share these books with you today. Of course, I've done a video before about the 5 law of attraction books that changed my life, but today I want to focus on spiritual and self-help books because I feel like there are so many fantastic books that have also hugely impacted and hugely shaped my spiritual journey and life over the last 7 years. But if you're new here to my channel, then welcome. My name is Emma. I'm an award-winning life coach and 2 times best-selling author, law of attraction YouTuber here on my channel, and the host of the #1 spirituality podcast on iTunes, Spiritual Queen's Badass Podcast. And here on my channel, I cover all things manifestation, law of attraction, spirituality, and self-help. So not only do I really hope you're going to enjoy this video, but the abundance of videos here on my channel over the last 8 years. So it's been no lie that books have been a huge impact on my life. Being an author, I love reading books. Books I am obsessed with. So much so that I literally am like, I need a huge bookshelf and I want to color coordinate it. Books are a big love of my life, and books have been so monumental in my healing, in my spiritual awakening, in my law of attraction journey over the years. And I wanted to share the 5 books that I really feel have changed my life and will change your life too. And hopefully there are some books that you haven't heard of before, or maybe you haven't read yet. Maybe this is your sign to read these books. And I will also link my 5 law of attraction books that you need to read in the description below, so you can go and watch that video as well if you want some more books purely focused on manifestation. But without further ado, my first book that has hugely changed my life is Get Rich, Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffel Thomas. Now this is actually a really new entry. Like, this is a new entry into the top 5 because I've only actually read this over January, and I've got, I think, about like 20 pages more left to read. So I'm not even fully finished and it's already in the top 5 of books that changed my life, right? So this book by Denise is fantastic, and so many people recommended it to me over the years. I'd never read any of Denise's work before. Denise came on the podcast a few years ago, so I knew obviously a lot of the amazing work that she'd done, but I hadn't actually read this book. And so many people like, oh my gosh, Emma, like if you want to work on money mindset, if you want to like step to that new level, then this book is the book for you. So I bit the bullet and started reading this at the beginning of January, as soon as we hit New Year, and I am hooked. I haven't been able to read self-help books for ages. I've really felt drawn to fiction, and this was the first self-help book that I've probably read since, I would say, last summer. And honestly, like, I can't put it down. I've loved it so much. And interestingly enough, Denise echoes a lot of the teachings and a lot of the law of attraction principles that I do in my work. And it was really funny to read that for the first time and think, well, clearly great minds think alike, right? So it was really nice to refresh my own memory and also see things from a different perspective as well. Again, I didn't realize Denise was so heavily into the law of attraction. I really didn't. So to read this book was great because then it reminded me of like, okay, actually this is a whole new amazing way to look at the law of attraction, and also like, here's how I can upgrade my money mindset, step into that wealth mindset. And it is really good. I love how simple the exercises are. I mean, for me, as you know, with my books, there's exercises, journaling prompts, and everything at the end. There's nothing like that in this. It's just really gentle, kind of like, you know, suggestions of like changing your bank names and like your savings account names in your bank, and a few like forgiveness exercises and stuff. So I really liked that actually I didn't have to do a lot with this book, that actually it was really impactful just reading it. And I had a lot of aha moments and epiphanies just from reading it. And then the exercises on top were kind of like that cherry on top, the bonus to that. Whereas I do normally tend to gravitate more towards books that have practices in them, and obviously I write books that have practices in them. So it was really nice to not have that this time and actually have more of like a book that I could just follow along with and really get some epiphany moments. And I've actually really enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. So I'm really, really grateful that I picked up this book, that I started reading it after all your amazing recommendations. So thank you everybody who did recommend reading it. I definitely feel like it's, well, to be frank, the month that I've read it, we had the best month in the business. So far over the last 7 years. So that should tell you how much this book has changed my life. So really highly recommend it, really love it. And I feel like this is such a great book that so many people can just pick up from so many different walks in life and actually get something from it. You don't have to be a business owner. It is law of attraction focused, which is always exciting and beneficial if you're into the law of attraction. And I actually just think this is a really great all-round book to read if you want to work on your money mindset, and especially for women, stepping into that wealth mindset and just really embodying money in all forms. Like, it's definitely not and you guys know me, if it was a spammy book, if it was like a multi-level marketing book or any weird icky vibes like that, I just wouldn't have picked up the book. But it's actually a really grounded money book, and I actually really love Denise's approach in this, that it is tailorable for everybody, not just if you want those huge luxurious things in life. You can absolutely tailor this book to all your goals and all your version of wealth, which I think is really important. And as you guys know, I echo in my Positively Wealthy teachings as well. So love Denise's book, can't wait to finish it. I will be sad when it's over. And I really think that this has been a game changer, like one of the books, because as I always say to George, my friend as well, and Hannah, I say the problem is when you've read all the best self-help books and you teach it as well, you then kind of struggle to find a book that really impacts you after a while, because you know so much, you've read so much, and you kind of want that deeper book. And I feel like this is the one book that's really kind of grabbed me in the last year or so, where other books kind of haven't. So I really feel like this has been a book where I'm like, oh my God, I've actually taken loads away from this, even with the knowledge that I have on everything else. And I actually feel like the tools and practices in here and the mindset is really, really what I've needed at this stage in my life. So love it, Denise. So the next book may not be a surprise to all of you if you're a long-term watcher here on my channel. I've definitely featured this book numerous times over the years on my channel. So if you're a long-term watcher, I don't think you're going to be surprised by this one. But it is The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. I get asked on podcast interviews a heck of a lot, what is the one book that changed your life? And I always say this book. And not because it massively taught me about the law of attraction. Obviously, I'd read The Secret, The Magic, and other books before that, like Ask and It's Given. So I feel like my law of attraction knowledge came way before that, and obviously, you know, like developing my own practice and stuff. Whereas I feel like this book changed my life purely from a mindset point of view, but also in the art of surrendering and letting go. So people ask me all the time, how do you let go? How do you surrender? This was the book that finally taught me to do that. Obviously, my practice has developed over the years, and I think I first read this book, I want to say in 2018. I think it was 2018. It was sat on my bookshelf for a year when it came out. I bought it as soon as it came out because I love Gabby's work, and it sat on my shelf, never read. And then I was hitting a really challenging time in my life, and it was actually in my work bookshelf that it was sat up there to my right. And I picked it up and just opened a chapter, and I was like, right, what do I need to know today, universe? And the chapter that I opened the book on was chapter 11, when you think you've surrendered, surrender some more. And that chapter, I read it right then and there. And that chapter really changed my life forever, because as I continuously say, until this book came into my life, I don't think I'd surrendered a day in my life. I didn't even know what surrendering was, and definitely not with the law of attraction process. Like, it's just something that's not covered in old school teachings. It's not something that's focused on in The Secret. It's not something that's hugely spoken about. So how on earth would we know how to surrender or let go? So I think this book is definitely like a staple in my self-help library. Like, I have read this book so many times. It's highlighted. It's like all the pages are turned of like, come back to this page. Like I said, I've read this book so many times over the years, and I can honestly come back to this book and take away so much more, and the reminders are so needed sometimes. So I feel like this has been such a huge book for me, because it really taught me how to surrender, and brought up a lot of the issues that I was having with manifesting, where I wasn't surrendering and where I was staying really attached. So I will always say, like, the one book that has changed my life forever, this had the biggest impact. And I definitely feel like every single person should read it, because I really love Gabby's teachings. As you guys will know, she's been on the podcast as well. I've read Gabby's books for years and I love them because they're such a gentle way of manifesting. There's no BS, there's no hustle culture, there's no do everything. Like, that's the one thing I really love about Gabby's work, and what I really echo within my work as well, is manifesting with ease, manifesting through regulation, healing the inner work, and really simplifying the practice. So I love that book for all those reasons. And I just feel like if there was one book that, if I could say, buy one of these 5 books, it would be The Universe Has Your Back. And of course, I forgot to say this as well, all links to the books will be in the description below as well for ease. So every book that I mentioned in this video is down in the description for you to access with ease. So next book, book number 3, is A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Now, I think I've definitely featured this in my book club many years ago here on YouTube. I don't know whether I featured it in like books that changed my life video before. I don't think I have, because this book found me, and Hannah, my friend, always really heavily recommended Marianne's work for like really deep manifesting, really deep law of attraction, A Course in Miracles, learning about that. And I feel like this book is probably one of the best books that I've read on A Course in Miracles. And to be honest, I've kind of gravitated away from Course in Miracles over the years. I just don't massively resonate with it. I used to a little bit with some of the teachings, and I still think now, especially Gabby's work as well focuses on A Course in Miracles. I feel like there's stuff in that I do still resonate, and have tried in the past, but I definitely think I just don't think many people talk about it nowadays in terms of A Course in Miracles and in terms of using that with the law of attraction. But A Return to Love came into my life, again, a hugely pivotal part in my spiritual journey, healing journey, and awakening journey. And I think it was 2018, 2019 I read this book. It might have been 2018. The years seem to blur into one before 2020, so I forget what years exactly I've read this, but I'm sure if you go back on my book club videos, you will find it. But I'm certain it was like 2018, 2019. I first read this book, and over 1 million copies sold as well. This is one of Marianne's biggest best-selling books and work over the years. And I would say, again, if you want something deeper, I would say this is like your deep spiritual law of attraction book. I would say it goes hugely deeper than Gabby's book, but actually is so needed. I love Marianne's work. Of course, all of these authors' works are, different tempos, different styles, etc. But Marianne's work is really great, and Marianne's come on the podcast as well. I love how all of these people, apart from one, have come on the podcast as well. What a manifestation. That's how much these books have changed my life. I've brought them on the podcast as well to share their words of wisdom with you. But I'll read a little bit of blurb of A Return to Love. So in A Return to Love, Marianne Williamson shares her insights into how the practical application of love every day can provide an answer to the problems that confront us. Whether these are in our relationships, our careers, or our health, this recently updated best-selling guide reveals how we can each take a spiritual, psychological, and emotional journey back to the true inner peace with which we are born, and shows how by practicing love, we can make our lives more peaceful, loving, and fulfilling. I would say this has been a game changer for me in terms of returning back to that inner child, returning back to that love, a return to love, a return to unconditional love. This book was so healing within itself, plus helps with manifesting, plus helps with your mindset as well. So I would say, like, if you want something deeper and you want a really good book that's going to connect you back to yourself, this is the book for you, and you will not regret it. You definitely need more focus. Like, there's books where you could just, I think like Denise's book especially, you could just kind of pick it up, put it down, and you're still gonna like understand where you are. It's a very light-hearted but in-depth read, whereas this, like, I definitely needed to be awake for it. Like, I was like, right, focus, like, it's a very deep read, but it's absolutely worth it for the clarity and for the connection that I got back with myself from this book. So I really love this book, and I think it's not spoken about enough as a good spiritual, even manifestation book in terms of connecting back to yourself, in terms of healing, in terms terms of manifestation from that Course in Miracles perspective. That's why I love it, to be honest, because each author brings something so different to manifesting, and all those books are manifesting books, but equally you can take something so different from each one, and each one kind of helps, like one with letting go, one with returning to love and healing, and one with money mindset. So fourth book then, what is our fourth book? Well, I didn't realize how well read and mucky this book is, to be honest. It's gonna look like I have absolutely destroyed this book, but I've just read it lots and it's great. And the cover's not as like protected as the others. So this is Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. The best-selling sensation, How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent and Lead. This book is on my books that will change your life, purely because this book changed my life. I think Gabby's is number one, and I would probably argue this is number two. So Daring Greatly is all about the courage to lead from vulnerability. I love Brené's work because although it's not deeply spiritual like a lot of these other books, or even law of attraction focused, it's actually more mindset focused and psychology focused. But what I really love about Brené's take on this and what she shares within this book is how deeply healing this is, and how she shares such vulnerable, raw experiences from her own life in the book. And I just remember like reading this book again, I think it was like 2019, 2020, I read this book. I just remember how impactful this book has been on my life in terms of leading from vulnerability, from leaning into vulnerability, from uncovering vulnerability, healing and allowing that vulnerability to come through, and also having the courage to dare greatly. And I think that is the big takeaway from that, of daring greatly from a place of vulnerability, and how our vulnerability is our superpower, and how actually the courage that we need to really like fulfill our dreams and manifest our dreams comes from that beautiful vulnerability. So I feel like this book was a real like heart opener for me, and a real like heart softener as well, if that makes sense. I feel like this book has allowed me to connect hugely to my feminine energy more. This definitely came in as I was healing my feminine energy and really leaning into that more instead of the masculine. So I feel like this book was really great because it appealed to my masculine energy and nature of being like more non-spiritual, but actually like it's such a beautiful book. Like I cried through this book, I had huge breakthroughs through this book. I even remember, Yes, I remember reading this when I was writing Positively Wealthy, actually. I remember it because I remember switching from one to the other, like, right, reading a book, right, writing my book. I always find when I read books, it always sparks a lot of inspiration for my own books, not from a sense of I talk about the same topics. I normally talk about completely different topics, but normally I find when I'm reading a book that really shapes and transforms my life and my journey, it really helps to unlock that creativity in terms of writing my own books on manifestation and law of attraction and stuff. So I really have loved Daring Greatly. I feel like if you are someone who thinks you hold yourself back in life, or you feel like you need to kind of like up your game and up level, and you really want to achieve your dreams, but actually you know you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable, Brené's book is fantastic. The reviews speak for themselves. The fact this book is battered speaks for itself of how many times I've read it, and I just think it's such a beautiful book. Just so much power in there. Like I really love Brené's work, and Brené is the only person we haven't had on the podcast yet, so manifesting it. I have reached out before, so again, you know, I feel like Brené's work, and I love all of Brené's book. I've actually read Braving the Wilderness, Daring Greatly, and No, it's not A Call to Courage. That's her Netflix show. She's got a show on Netflix called A Call to Courage. I'm sure it's called that. And I highly recommend watching it. That's how I came across Brené. I saw the Netflix series or documentary, I think it is, and then brought all of the books, but I can't remember what her other book's called. Daring Greatly, Braving the Wilderness, and Rising Strong, that's it. And Rising Strong, again, was a huge book that has played, again, a huge impact on me. So Brené's work is so good for healing, for stepping into your purpose, for leading with vulnerability and courage. Like all of these books are phenomenal, and by phenomenal women authors. And again, they're all by women, these books. I didn't even realize that until now. But again, I just feel like all of them have such a powerful, potent energy to transform so much in your life, but all of them will give you like a slightly different focus or appeal to you at a slightly different part of your journey. So book 5 then. What is our last book? It is Rise Sister Rise by Rebecca Campbell. I have loved Rebecca's work for so many years, and she is such a beautiful, gorgeous person as well. Rebecca's come on the podcast quite a few times. I think it's like 2 or 3 times now over the years, and she is just so, so lovely and so, so supportive as well. I have a lot of love and time for Rebecca, and her work absolutely echoes that as well. Rebecca's books were actually some of the first books that I ever read on my spiritual journey. Her first one I read back in 2017 was Is Light is the New Black. And then Rise Sister Rise is her second book in that series. Now, I was like in confliction of like, oh my God, which book do I feature? Do I feature Light is the New Black, or do I feature Rise Sister Rise? But I feel like Rise Sister Rise, I had more breakthroughs with. I feel like Light is the New Black helped me step into my purpose and helped me to start writing my books and really step into light worker, whereas I feel like this book really helped heal my feminine journey, helped me connect to my divine feminine, and really helped me manifest and run a business and lead my life from that feminine energy. So I feel like if you want to really take your divine feminine work to the next level, or you feel like you need to connect your feminine energy more, Rise Sister Rise is so amazing. It's such a gentle, beautiful book. There is so much beautiful poetry throughout this book as well. I literally cannot even express to you how much like beauty is in the book, how like, oh, the poetry, everything, the practices in here, like I have loved every single moment of it. And it's not something that I have particularly gone back to this book, but I feel like over the years, all of those teachings have just echoed throughout my own life. And I just love Rebecca's such grounded Mother Nature energy. It really appeals to my Virgo earth sign self. Rebecca's really, really magical with her work, and I really, really love the energy of her branding, of her work. It just feels very, very, I don't know what the word is. It feels very, very grounded, and it feels very, very, I don't want to say aligned, but it just feels like, I just feel like everybody needs to experience Rebecca's work to understand what I mean by like the grounded earthly energy that she just so effortlessly embodies, it feels like. And I just think all of her work is so, so impactful. Her oracle cards as well. Kyle Gray and Rebecca's books are the first that I really, really read, and Gabby's on my spiritual journey. And definitely I don't regret it, because these books are so, so fabulous. So to wrap up then, obviously you've seen my 5 books that I recommend, and don't click off this video just yet, because I've got some more books that I want to recommend on top of that. You got 5, but why not have some more? But the reason why I feel like books are so, so impactful in our lives is purely because of how much love, and I know as an author myself, how much love and energy goes into these books. You know, I found that when I pick up a really good book, and a book that has changed my life, it's changed everything. 300 pages, 60,000 words have changed my whole entire being sometimes, and my whole entire view of the world and view of life and view of myself. And I think that's so, so impactful. I am such a book nerd. I love reading books. I love having physical books. And I really feel like I personally really connect to books because of how much, one, that I've learned from books and love reading books, but secondly, how that's then impacted my own author and book writing journeys. And I definitely feel like books have such a huge, huge impact on our lives. Like that's why book clubs exist. That's why I've shared books here on my channel over the years so commonly, because books have such an impact on our lives and the potential to change so much. And it's always like a fun little journey that you go along as you read the book, as you pick up the book and read those first pages. And then when you close the book, you have that nostalgia of, oh my God, I've gone through a whole journey here. I've gone through a whole, transformation. So I feel like books, I would argue, are probably some of the best ways to heal, to manifest, to spiritually awaken, to learn more, because we all know how much we get from books, and the journey and the love, the blood, the sweat, the tears that authors put into these books to make them so bloomin' impactful and so bloomin' amazing. So that's why I always feel really cool to share books that have changed my life, and continue to read books, because I just feel like the knowledge and the power and the awareness that we can get from them in our spiritual journey, in our manifesting journey, is priceless. I think a book normally costs anything between like £6 to kind of £12 normally, depending on where you're buying it from or how long it's been out or if it's a bestseller. But that kind of small investment can have such a huge impact on your life, right? Like I generally feel some of the best money I've ever spent on my spiritual journey has been on books, because the knowledge and tools And everything that I've taken away from books have hugely shaped my life, more so than more expensive offerings, more so than courses sometimes. So I feel like there's so much potential with books, and that's why I think books are so powerful, so great, and just have the opportunity to transform our world in so many ways for such a small investment, such a small price tag. So I love books, and I think it's obvious to see how much I love books. If you saw my bookcase and all the mini bookcases around my house at the moment, books have such a huge impact on, I think, so many people's lives, whether it's ebook, whether it's audiobook, whether it's paperback. You know, there's so many ways to enjoy books nowadays for people with all different needs, whether you like a physical book, whether you like it digitally, whether you prefer it audio, you know, prefer listening to books. There's so many fantastic ways to indulge in such fantastic information. But before you go, I just want to share 3 books with you that I think can also hugely transform your life. Now, you're going to laugh because, yes, it's my own books. But I always just share these purely because I know how much these books have changed my life, and obviously you guys have told me how much they've changed your life over the years as well. So I would firstly recommend Positively Wealthy, which is my 33-day guide to manifesting sustainable wealth and abundance in all areas of your life. This book came out in 2020 and has sold nearly 20,000 copies, which is blimmin' mind-blowing when I think about it. And I'm so grateful for every single person who has bought a copy of this book. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as you can see, recently it's been in the works. I got myself a little memento copy. So it's £4 in the works here in the UK at the moment, reduced from £12.99. It's also on Amazon for £6.99 as well. So literally the best, cheapest investment you can make in the law of attraction. But this book is life-changing because you have a 33-day fun manifesting challenge. And you can see loads of incredible reviews on Amazon of what people have manifested on my channels as well, if you want to go and see what the results are for that. Then the accompanying book to the Positively Wealthy book is the Positively Wealthy Journal, if you can see the foil, if it's not reflecting too much. So this is a 12-month undated journal. It's super thick as well. You've got over 20, I think it's 27 practices in here, and it's designed to be used over a year to help manifest your financial dreams. So this is more of a money mindset book journal, whereas Positively Wealthy is wealth in all areas of your life. So it's wealth of health, wealth of love. So there is a money focus in Positively Wealthy, but if you specifically want to work on your money mindset and enhancing that, this is the journal for you. Super fun, beautiful illustrations in there, and you can use it over a year, so it's going to last you a really long time. And this retails for £14, but averages about £10 on Amazon at the moment as well. Then finally is the new book baby, Hurt, Healing, Healed, which came out in October of 2022. Retail price of £12.99. Again, on Amazon it normally works out about £10 around that. It will drop in price obviously as time goes. And this is the ultimate guide to releasing limiting beliefs, fears and blocks to supercharge your manifestation. So this book is if you are hitting those blocks, or you know you have limiting beliefs or fears, maybe you're struggling to manifest your dreams and you're like, what is the problem, Emma? Why am I not manifesting this? Why do I feel blocked? Why does that voice, that niggling voice come up in my head telling me that I can't do this, or whatever it is? If you are experiencing blocks, this is the book for you. This is the deepest law of attraction book I've written, and again has such a huge potential to manifest huge abundance in your life, because again, I've walked this path, I've lived this path, and I've lived my Hurt, Healing, Healed journey, and the abundance that I experienced as a result of doing that inner work, as a result of actually doing the work. And this book is not just a book that tells you to do the work. This is a book to guide you to do the work. A lot of my test readers were like, Emma, you're putting yourself out of a job here. And I was like, I'm not in any way, shape or form. At the end of each chapter, and at the end of Positively Wealthy's each chapters as well, you get tasks, actions, and journaling prompts to embody and heal and, you know, work on the Positively Wealthy challenge, whichever book you're reading. Specifically, this one will help you to heal through the hurt, healing, and healed sections. So it gives you the tools, it gives you the resources, and again, a super affordable way to access healing, a super affordable way to remove those blocks to supercharge your manifestation. So I hope you're going to enjoy those 5 books that I recommended, and even my own books if you choose to pick them up. Again, all the links to every book I've discussed in this video will be linked down below, so you can access them with ease. But I would love to know what books have changed your life, because it's very well me saying what books have changed my life, and hopefully you're all going to love and enjoy them as well. But again, I'm always open to reading new books. I'm sure everybody else watching wants some fantastic book recommendations as well. So please let me know what book has changed your life in the comments below, because I'd love to read it too, and I'd love to see what books have impacted your manifestation and spiritual journey as well. But thank you so much, gorgeous souls, for watching. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all. And don't forget, you can also join my free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook, where you can join myself and other like-minded souls, where we talk all things Law of Attraction and spirituality. I hope you have a fabulous week, whatever you are up to, and I will see you all in my next video, which will be on Tuesday. Lots of love.